everyone! Welcome to another episode of the Homeshow Unlimited. And for today's episode, we have a very special guest with us. He's a good friend of mine, an entrepreneur, and the owner of Demetrius Pizza and Pasta. Let's welcome Mr. Dan Mejia.
Hey Alex, hi everybody. Good afternoon.
Hi, Dan.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Okay, so first question. Last year, the world was put on hold because of the pandemic. How was that experience like for you?
It was life-changing. I think that I've never gone through a more unique kind of challenge in life. No, so at that time, I remember March. Was it 16? March 16 yata? Oh,
March 15. I remember it clearly because we also had to close our businesses.
Right. So we at that time I was handling a bakery brand called Mercedes Bakery, which was already open for 13 years. And since we were all mall based and airport also, we had one branch in the airport, Murag. On that day, all of our business closed and we had no idea of when the malls were gonna open. So grabe siya challenging. I would say challenging would be the word. And well, unfortunately, obviously now I'm running my own pizza business, which is Demetrio. We sadly had to actually close the bakery brand because of that. So I think although challenging, it also pushed me to see what else I could do. Like, if there's something else out there for me, which thank God Demetrios came into the picture.
What made you decide to really close it down instead of holding on and waiting like some other businesses are doing?
Well, number one, I think, your number one overhead cost that's always sakit is always your wages, your rent, diba? And we aside from owning a brand, you're also responsible for the livelihood of so many people, and so we decided to, rather than just wait it out, try our best to adapt, which we later realized mall-based businesses are not really equipped for the pandemic. I mean, right now, it's been ECQ again for 2021. It was our first time to have ECQ, no? And affected yun ang tanan businesses in the malls, even outside of the malls, but nothing quite like the malls. I think some 8,000 people lost their jobs instantly when there's ECQ. So we decided to just see if there was something that could adapt, something that wasn't out of our wheelhouse, out of what I was good at, which had to do with food, which had to do with baking, but something that would be more COVID, not COVID friendly, but more COVID appropriate for our customers.
So that's the reason why you chose pizza as your main product.
Well, I think that's one. The other is that we also realized that, bread during this time, if you're a bakery brand and you're not in the grocery where there's all these other FMCGs, all these other basic necessities, it's hard for you to grow and sustain your sales unless you're one of these big distributors. No, I think online you'll see all these different home-based bakers, and then so you have home-based bakers at a very basic level, and then you have all these like gardenia level of bakeries who are competing, and everyone in the middle is kind of just gone. And so I said, okay, I need to do something that's not just bread, something more high value, but can still be baked in our ovens. And so, I mean, pizza is the world's favorite food. And I love pizza myself, so I started experimenting. And yeah,
and you can really have fun. You can really have fun with it. Put anything on top of it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
yes.
I have
what
I think
flavor is that?
It's
is that
basically
new?
This is our classic. We call it our formaggi pizza. So it's our tomato base and our mozzarella cheese and all the other good stuff on there. But like, I mean, I have some extra Parma ham that I got from a supplier the other day, and I just put it on there, and there you go. It's perfect for any time of the day, diba? So I mean, you like pizza too. So I think
Yeah, we all do.
everybody loves pizza.
What were your challenges in putting up a new business in the midst of a pandemic?
In the mind, I think it was really the fear of failure. You know, what I mean, it's like, oh, how do I know this is gonna work? How do I know this is gonna work, especially now that it's the pandemic? So fear was number one. Number two would probably be, well, if it does work, where am I gonna find the right people who are gonna help me continue to to sustain the business, right? And I mean, I don't know if you can relate, but how many Instagram, Facebook, small business startups did you see start during the pandemic, and that
Yeah, a
you don't
lot.
see even now, like 1 year after? Daghan, di ba? Marag, you can't count how many people, like, doesn't matter what it was, whether you're selling rice or baked goods or fish or barbecue or whatever. A lot of them died out because it's one thing to start a business, to make a Facebook page and start offering your service. Another thing to sustain it, and that was the second thing. That was the challenge: was how could we sustain that? Luckily, right now though, I'm not saying it's fortunate, but it is a fact. A lot of people who have worked with really good companies, international companies, national brands, they're actually looking for work out there. And so if you can find your own, if you can just look in the Facebook realm, I think you would find a lot of skilled workers who need work right now if you're starting a business.
So how are you able to sustain it even now, especially now that we are on ECQ? It's around 2 weeks na, and it's gonna be extended another week. So three
Well,
weeks total.
I think it's about the knowing what your customers need. You know, any business, the lifeline or the blood that flows through your veins of the business is always your customers. Without customers, you have no sales. No sales, you can't pay for anything. And I think even during this time of ECQ, people still need to eat. People still need to have their little rewards. They need to have their, we like to call it their damn good moments, no? And so we try to do our best to be a part of that. In fact, one of the things we launched right as the ECQ happened was our own online ordering system. So if you go to demetrios.ph/order, you can now, without having to install another app on your phone, you can now order your favorite Demetrios pizzas and pastas, and even your favorite numero coffees online. And basically, it's a faster way to order without having to necessarily go down and order your pizza.
Okay. So what was the biggest lesson that you learned from your experience?
Oh, biggest.
Or you can name
Daghan, Lex,
you
I
can name
can't. I
several.
can't.
Your top three. Top three.
Ah, man. Well, I guess if number one is always, if God has a plan for you, you need only to be still and wait for Him. You know, and I think it was less than 6 months after the pandemic happened. I already had this feeling like, okay, my bakery is gonna close. I don't know what the next step is. I wasn't planning on making pizza at that time yet, and he he told me to just trust him, and so I did. And we actually opened our pizza place a few months before we decided to really officially close Demetrios, and that was so so gracious of the Lord, because He allowed for me to experience letting go of something I had worked hard at, but at the same time to receive something that was totally from his grace alone. So be still when you are in times of trial because the Lord will continue to guide you. Number two would be that if you want to succeed, if you want to go far, you have to go together with people. If you want to go fast, you have to go alone. I remember the first 2 weeks
Yeah,
of
I also like that
starting.
quote.
I remember the first 2 weeks of starting the Metrios, everything from purchasing, going to all the groceries to buy the ingredients, to making the pizzas themselves, having to deliver sometimes, to having to close the business. Um,
You were a
it was,
one-man army.
well, I mean, I had two other people with me, but if you want to go far, you need to find the right kind of people. No, success does not happen if there's no succession and if there's no right team who you can empower the right roles to. And so I remember God also blessed me with the right team, people who had pizza experience already from their prior employment, and it all just worked out that way. So that's number two is uh, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I guess the third is to, well, I always say this to my team, kung gusto mo ang daming paraan, kung ayaw mo, ang daming dahilan.
Dahilan.
Right? And I remember more than making pizza, more than making money, what I really wanted, what I was really committed to was, this is a pandemic. It doesn't change the fact that I have to take care of my family. And I always go back to the fact that what really drove me to push my limits is really the fact that I wanted to make sure that at the end of the day, my wife, Maxine, and my son, Pablo, would be taken care of and that they wouldn't have to worry. And so, rather than saying, oh, it's COVID, can't do anything, it's COVID, I have to do something. And it's really a mindset, I guess, of changing your mindset from asking yourself, can I, to asking yourself rather, how can I? See, when you say can I, you're still wondering if there's possibility. When you say how can I, you're already looking for the solution. And for me, COVID is the problem. We have to just look at the solution and go forward.
Yes, I agree. And that's also one of the reasons why you're able to pivot so fast.
Yes, yes. I guess just to compare, no, when we locked down in March last year, I had no idea what to do because all my stores were closed. When we locked down June 16 this year, my team was completely calm about it because the business, which actually started during COVID, we like to say that we were born from the pandemic oven. We were able to prepare for situations like this already, like ECQ.
Yeah, and you were also able to get a really good location.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, being a realtor, I know you know that location is there's only the three most important parts, diba, in business are location, location, location.
Yeah, your location is really good and it's in an area where the community has strong buying power.
Yes.
So that's why one
And
of the
it's
reasons.
al fresco too.
Yeah, and the area is also really windy.
Yeah.
Even if it's
Exactly.
really hot, the uptown area, the near Pablo Business Park, it has good airflow. So even if it's al fresco, it's still okay.
And lastly, it has really good parking, I
Yeah,
would say.
which is one of the problems of the Divisoria area. No parking.
Almost all areas in Cagayan. That's pretty much a general problem.
Except for the
Yep.
malls. Except for the malls.
Oh,
Right now, business in the malls are not really good. Like a lot of my
Yeah.
clients or people that I know who have businesses in malls, they're really moving to the uptown area.
So I think you notice a lot of food parks are opening here.
There are
A
already
lot of
five food parks uptown.
five, na ba?
Five na.
Yeah, I think you're right. Or it might be more. There's one down the road near Vista Verde also, di ba?
Yeah, and even during the pandemic, you see that there's still a lot of people going to the food parks.
Yeah, and I mean, it just shows you the priorities of Filipinos. You know? We really want to eat. Eating for us is our way of celebrating, our way of showing that we're doing okay, and I think that's really become our mission in life. For Demetrius is to share them good moments with these people because when they're in their house, all they want to do is be out, and when they decide to come to Demetrius, we can't afford to not give them the best experience because they sometimes they don't know when they're gonna be allowed outside of their house again.
Yeah, especially now. Everything is closed now. There's only takeout.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm sure people are starting to get a little cabin fever in their houses already, and hopefully we can all do our part in staying home and keeping away from or avoiding going out so that we can flatten the curve as fast as possible.
Okay, so my last question is, what are the top 3 characteristics that you think every entrepreneur should have?
Ooh, top three characteristics. Um, well, I guess for Demetrius, I'd like to share what our 3 values are, and these are 3 values that all of us as leaders in Demetrius share, which are commitment, creativity, and influence. So I think every entrepreneur needs to be committed. You need to be 100% all in. Otherwise, you're always going to have a backup plan, and if you have a backup plan, you'll always say, maybe it's not for me. You know, rather than not having a backup plan and saying, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get through, to succeed, to find the best way. And when you're committed like that, that leads to our second value, which is creativity. Not innovation is the mother of no sorry necessity is the mother of innovation.
Innovation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you need something, you find ways. You become creative. You become a person who learns to think outside the box and say, well, the main point is that I need this, even if others are doing it a certain other way. Is there another way I can achieve what I need? And when you do that, when you're committed and you're creative about it, it actually allows for you to just do things your own way and not have to worry about what everyone else is doing. And lastly is influence. Again, if you want to go fast, you can go alone. But if you want to go far, you have to go together. And I think the word leader sometimes intimidates people, but I think everybody has influence. And so, where you steer that influence, how you use it on the people that you have influence with, how you grow it, that will determine whether or not your business will grow. Because a business without the people, it's not a business anymore. That's your own one man show. You're just being a professional at that point. So yun,
I agree.
commitment, creativity, and influence.
Okay, very well said. Thanks, Dan. By the way, before we end, how can they order Demetrius Pizza? Where can they find
All right.
you?
Well, basically, right now we are open for delivery and pickup. We just launched again our new website. You don't have to download another app. You just go to demetrios.ph/order, demetrios.ph/order, or you can message us on Facebook so that you can find out how to order. And you get 10% off on your first order, actually. So it's quick, it's easy, it's safe, and it's damn good.
Damn good pizza. Okay, thank you so much, Dan. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Alex. All right. You and
And
your
that,
family stay safe.
yes, you too. So that ends our episode for today, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye!
Bye.